T-R-U-F. Truth.
He's the mirage in the rearview glass.
It's Ray from Dallas.
Was he here? Was he there? Was he ever mine?
Ray from Dallas?
Just a trick played by time.
This dude is savage as fuck.
Or just a dream?
What up, Ray from Dallas?
Ray from Dallas, tell me true.
He's fun.
Hi, Ray.
This appears to be a black man.
Ray from Dallas.
Let's take this walk.
Is he real or just a dream? Falling stars or a laser beam? Ray from Dallas, tell me true. Are you the myth or the man I knew?
This dude is
Savage as fuck.
I'm the champion, feel the rush, the crowd goes wild.
Obviously, obviously, yeah, obviously. Obviously, yeah, obviously. Tell them, obviously, I know these niggas don't want me to win, but I'm sorry, G. I know they thought I wouldn't come back and pose on them hoes, but nigga, it's time to eat. I got a vendetta. Any one of you niggas, I been better. Got them gritting their teeth without gritting at them. Took a second away from the table, it's time to feast. Heard they was mumbling, talking up under their breath. That nigga a hoe, he soft. That nigga lame, that nigga bitch, he puss. I stood on business, that's law. I had them running that boots and tucking their tail and scared to put me on a song. I had them cuffing they bitch and thinking I hit. Shit, what you on? Couple years off, then I'm back in this motherfucker, nigga. Do somebody, then fuck your recognition. You don't like I'm spitting, nigga, better shoot somebody. The game and full of clowns, I don't believe you sucker niggas. Better leave me be, okay? Niggas better watch their speech, okay? You better than me, no way, Jose. I could be cutthroat and I'm all out, but I let them get paid for a minute. Let them look gang for a minute, but really they hate cause I never look lame for an image. Never be fake, I'm a realist, I'm solid. I went out and got it, I promise I'm with it. Want me to switch up and get soft on so you can make it, I promise I get it. I know some secrets I never tell, but most of you rap niggas got bitch ways. Quick to tell on you, get jammed down, couldn't sit down 5-6 days. Put him and him in a crossway, but a gang member on display. That's the same nigga with an AK on the block yelling out gunplay. That's the same nigga with a trap house and he been through it so he no pain. Look in the face of a realer. Laws come questioning me, I don't know names. Bitch, I really come from the trenches. Kathleen crashed out like road rage. Bitch, I snapped that and got life in the pen cause most of you niggas got hoe ways. Man, see, most of these niggas got hoe ways. A lot of these niggas be out here faking and fucking on these motherfuckers. Came home and my shit broke a bitch in a week for a dub. I don't believe these new niggas, they rapping my life. You ain't seen half the shit I done done. You're a daily if you do. You're a daisy if you do. But I ain't got shit to prove. Blue dust, gold tooth, little Bruce, smile sharp enough to choose. Bang, bang, right through your cool. Walking like a rumor with a pulse. Lip curl sweeter than your cold. My eyes say try me and you freeze like salt. Got your huggle. You want it, that smoke, I'm the whole damn stack. Got your huggle. Step up, I'll clear the room. You're a daisy if you do. You're a daisy if you do. All aces in my hand, better back. Tongue sharp like a tag, hit a click clack. You wanted that heat, now it's time to meet the sun. No shade, just black. Walk, walk, walk slow. Silver in my lap. Halo crooked heart attack. Say a piece, talk that trash. I turn every word to glass. Cut deep. Got your huggle, got your huggle. You wanted that smoke, I'm the whole damn stack. Got your huggle, got your huggle. Step up, I clear the room. Smile sharp enough to do your daisy if you do. Your daisy if you do.
Salute, salute, salute to everybody out here from the 214, to in the States, to across the pond. You know, welcome with RFD, aka Ray from Dallas. Salute. I want y'all to know I appreciate everybody on here, wherever y'all at across the world. You know, whoever tuned in to me, give me an opportunity, man. I just want to let y'all know, and I love and appreciate it. For real. And I never take it for granted. I'm going to go hard, regardless, you understand me? Man, I was just on Jimmy's show, man. The GOAT came on there, man. And Jimmy still, I think he's still alive right now. But he's jumping, but I couldn't push it back no more. His show was so good, I kept pushing it back. My show was supposed to start an hour ago. But Jimmy is just so the truth. Shout out to the beautiful Emma Rose in the building. He just so the truth, you know, like it's hard to, you know, to turn it off. Because that's Jimmy the Great. Jimmy the Great. Hold up. And you know, Jimmy, my dog, man. Man, he's so fucking funny, bro. Man, the GOAT was hot tonight, man. Too. When the GOAT said I'm hot, I said me too. He said Ray said me. Yeah, I'm hot, GOAT with you, shit. And it felt good, you know, looking at us. That's why this community is a tribe, a movement. Right? And that's what I appreciate about it the most. Especially, you know, like her and the GOAT tonight, him and Jimmy. When I say Jimmy is a fucking great friend to the GOAT, man, you could just tell. When I tell you he is a great fucking friend to the GOAT, man, it's just so undeniable, man. But Jimmy is he a people person, but he is a loyal friend, and he know his friends, right? He know them, right? Personality-wise and everything. And man, it was just so fun tonight. You know, the GOAT on his show, he say through my show, Jimmy steady putting up the different pictures. Everybody in the chat laughing. And the GOAT feeling so good, right? He just steady going, you know, he in his new house, smoking on some good Mary Jane, right? Which he deservingly so. Salute and congratulations to the GOAT, man. That was wonderful tonight. And that's what this movement is about. That's what they've been about before them turncoat bitch-made ass motherfuckers and JF Bum and his bitches. And you got that fucking crybaby Cryford and them other pieces of shit who turned turncoat like some hoes. Who turned turncoat like some hoes because they felt like they weren't at where they were supposed to be. And that's how you know you pussy. That's how you know JF Bum and his little side bitches are pussies, right? It ain't about where you at. It's about where you gonna get, where you gonna be. It ain't about looking at somebody else, about looking at you and what you gonna do, right? Yeah, it's okay to get confused, but be confused with yourself and fix that problem before you go hating on the motherfucker, because you ain't that motherfucker, right? Oh, get that confused before you go hating on the motherfucker, because you ain't that motherfucker, right? And that's real shit. And today, you know, well, I can say today, but now it's past 12 o'clock. But still today, I'm pissed off, right, because of this verdict we had, right? But I'm also pissed off, right, still, at that bitch ass shit, bitch, pussy ass tried to do to the GOAT. Clearly that punk, ignorant, lurch looking motherfucker, piece of shit of a dude, was trying to incite the GOAT. Bitch was trying to, right? And then if he was, he couldn't accept them. Your bitch ass, because you was right there like a little bitch. But then you see them pussies, you see that pussy and the rest of them pussies. Tell me what you go game like that. But you got that mark ass pussy ass dude waiting like a bitch. But right there where the GOAT pull up, just watching me see him pull up. That clean ass Lexus. Ooh, I wish I had me a Lexus face ass. See him pull up. And this bitch ass right there waiting like a bitch with his camera going. I want to go over this shit because I'm mad at y'all real quick. And then we're going to go to, you know, one of the greats on here, the lawyer, you know. But Jay, bitch, you was a bitch for real. Like, real talk, fam. You was a bitch for everything you did. For you trying to push his hand, for you swiping that little girl, then asking her why she crying like a hoe. Bitch, I wish you would do that to me. Pussy. Oh, no, I look, today, like just watching Jimmy's show, right? Because, you know, I kept pushing my stuff back, right? Because, you know, Jimmy, the GOAT came on the show. And Jimmy wasn't even through with the text when he got to the last one, then, you know, like, whoop-de-whoop, and this time, you know, but I kept pushing it back. And I was just talking about how, you know, how Jimmy is a great fucking friend and how the GOAT had a great time on the show tonight. Right, shout out to the beautiful queen, BKC, right? How the GOAT have a good time. The GOAT say he was hot. I said, GOAT, I'm hot too. Shit. He said, Ray said he hot to me too. Yup, sure is. Right? And the GOAT, you could just tell the GOAT feeling good in his new house. He going on talking. He talking that shit too. Like, yeah, these motherfuckers can't do it like I do because I can get on here and control the motherfucker mic. And it was just so funny. And it was just such a good feeling because Jimmy had us rolling in the chat, steady changing his his picture. Oh my God. I was like, Jimmy, stop. But I was also, when the GOAT was talking, I could tell he was high though, high as shit, right? Off that weed. But he was talking that shit because that's how I be, right? And he was talking, he popping this motherfucking collar. As he should. Because what the GOAT did was hard work and dedication that them bitch ass dudes don't know nothing about, right? Because it's easy to try to snake your way to the top, but once that blocking shit get through up, then your bitch ass in the back line like we see them whores now, right? But the gratitude is when you work your way to the top of hard work and dedication, right? Not giving a fuck. Yeah, you're going to have trials and tribulations. Yeah, you're going to feel like, man, what am I doing wrong that the people ain't going to like it? You're going to have them normal fucking thoughts, right? But that's not going to make you or that shouldn't make you or deter you from staying focused at the fucking goal at hand like them bitch ass motherfuckers couldn't. And I can't stand them pussies with nothing in me, right? Because all this started because the GOAT called these bitches the sixth string, right? The sixth string. Like, goddamn, you know how many people want to be the fucking sixth string? Get up there, then you have a dude who at the top echelon say you in sixth place out of all the motherfuckers. Because it's a bunch of fucking people out here doing it. Especially JF Bum, his sensitive South pussy ass, right? Start whining like a hoe. You called us the sixth string like it wasn't facts. But it wasn't no bad facts. But he's so pussy, they so pussy, they took it like it was bad facts because they hoes. They bitches on the inside. They whores on the inside. They took that like that was a bad thing to be called the fucking sixth string. Right? They act like it was a bad thing. And it wasn't. Right? But that was another blatant turncoat excuse for them pussies to try to do what they tried to do, right? And they really thought they was gonna get sympathy for like him calling y'all the sixth string. That's a motherfucking honor, right? I ain't nowhere near close to that. But that ain't gonna deter me because I'm in a new field. So guess what I got to do? I got to keep putting in that hard work, dedication, right? God damn. Ooh, what happened to these guys? Man, can't talk about me. I'm new here, 4 or 5 months in. Hey, talk about my numbers. I don't give a fuck. I got to keep working. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. And every time I get on this bitch, I'm going to perform. Right? Regardless if I have a little crowd or a big crowd. Right? Because one thing, business for talking to people, you can't worry about who not her. You got to worry about who her. And you got to worry about, hey, keep working hard to bring more motherfuckers her. Right? That's what it's about. Hard work, dedication. Motherfucker didn't wake up and say life was gonna be easy. Shit. Because if that was the case, everybody would be able to do it like that. But everybody can do it like that, right? It's about hard work and dedication. Not the bitchness in you, not the saltiness in you, right? To do what you do. Then you turn pussy because you get called out about it and start wilding the fuck out like the retards they fucking are, right? They can't take it. They love to dish it out. But the pussies they is, they can't take it, right? They love to dish it out. But the pussies, they can't take it. I hate soft ass niggas like that. I hate soft ass niggas like that. You soft, pussy. All you niggas soft. Y'all soft in a bitch. Y'all don't know nothing about winning or going through the fire to get there, or not just being humble enough to fucking accept where you at. Because there's a lot of people, including myself in this field, who don't get there like they do, right? I mean, it was there. It could be that, but it's a lot of people like me who don't get there like they do, but they not humble enough and appreciative enough. They say to be satisfied, you bitch ass niggas. Hold on, let me take this picture out real quick. I ain't talking about to be satisfied, you bitch ass niggas. Cause it's a lot of motherfuckers ain't that. They real. My bad, my people. My bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. Thank y'all for who stayed. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. I appreciate that. And I get it though. Cause you know when somebody keep blundering and shit, you know, be like, man, the fuck. So that's on me, baby. That's how you accept accountability. You pussy ass J Bum and his side bitches. Right? It's about working harder, grinding. That's what the GOAT did. Before the GOAT went to jail, like he said, he had 50,000 followers. When he got out that bitch and started doing what he do, this shit blew up. You know why? Because people recognize he went through the motherfucking lines then. He went through the motherfucking lions then to get where he at. Now let's get to these bitch ass suckers real quick. Cause I promise Jay bitch. Man, I double fucking dog dare you to play with me like this.
So it's a pretty rough city to grow up in. But it's a city right now where I'm waiting for someone to show up at.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
That's him? That's him? Look who's coming.
Oh, let's talk to him.
Let's talk to this guy. What's up, dude?
Hey.
What's up, bro? You know, I'm gonna ask some questions, bro. You ready to answer some questions, dude?
Let's go.
You ready to answer some questions?
Hey, buddy.
What's up, dude? We're here for justice.
What's up,
You're the most corrupted one, bro.
Aiden Kearney.
Is it cool to say that you rather have cancer beat a 60-year-old lady, bro? Is it cool? What's a hood booger, bro? Aiden? What's a hood booger, bro?
I email you all the time. We are email friends.
Thank you very much.
I thought it's a conflict of interest, Aiden. Why are you here? Isn't it a conflict of interest? You couldn't cover Jigga? But you're here? What's up, dude? Answer some questions, Aiden.
Okay.
No matter why you avoiding the questions, bro? Oh, you're scared. I'm scared.
Aiden Kearney. Take some pictures, you loser.
Daddy Dunk's here right in person, bro.
Why don't you ask him about
Why do you get out of my yellow?
is he gonna call Kelsey to see you next Tuesday too?
Are you gonna call Kelsey account when she don't like you?
Why would I do that?
That's what you do, bro. That's what you do, bro.
What do you want right now?
I ain't on shit, bro. It's called lack of sleep because I've been waiting to come to investigate.
Are you okay?
Testing your ass, bro. Yeah, I'm always sharp. Look at you. You're a rat or a rat.
Oh, so Brado too or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would Brado better like how you rather wish death upon the cancer patient? Huh?
What time?
Fucking clown. Fucking clown. No one answer no questions, but he wants to ask questions, right? You want to intimidate women? That's all you can do is intimidate women?
This pussy. The nerve of this pussy. Jay, bitch, you a pussy. Like, for real. You act like Better Roll to Go Daddy or something, you pussy ass bitch. You what Better Roll do about this? Shut your bitch ass up. Like that's his daddy or something. You sound like a hoe saying that mark ass shit. I don't want to hear that. You waiting like a bitch by his car. You talking about internet. You talking all this tough ass shit on the internet, you pussy. But he walked by you like a motherfucking boss bitch and you didn't do shit. Thought it was a conflict of interest. Thought it was a conflict of interest. Why the fuck you ain't covering it? The fuck you ain't covering it? Fuck you ain't covering it, pussy. Fuck you ain't covering it. The fuck you bitches think the golden title to do something you pussy say. The nerve of you fucking hood booger. And then talk about how the fuck can a loser take a picture with somebody? That's a fucking winner to me. That's a fucking winner to me. Right? The ghost said, right? You know, what happened in that situation? Right? Was y'all talking about, because he said it was the same thing as George Floyd. So I wonder what you bitch ass niggas talking about George Floyd the same way y'all talking about Jigga. If y'all think that was an injustice. I want to know. I want to know if y'all keep that same fucking energy. It's called lack of sleep. It's called, nigga, you's a bitch. I ain't finna lose no lack of sleep for no nigga. I ain't finna come up there dirty and grungy with some 30-year-old ass Wrangler pants on and a Back to the Future ass fucking hoodie on. No haircut. Face just look mangly as shit. And you didn't do a bitch ass thing. Nothing. Nathaniel, not a titi. Pussy.
You can't intimidate a man. You can intimidate women. You like threatening women, bro? You like threatening women? You like threatening women? You like threatening women? You like threatening women?
Definitely not a woman. Be nice to her.
Come on, dude.
I don't think they.
Why are you here, bro? I thought it's a conflict of interest. I thought it's a conflict of interest.
So why am I here? That's a great question.
Isn't it a conflict of interest? You couldn't cover Jigga because your attorney's his attorney, right?
Because Kelsey Fitzsimmons deserves to be renamed with a bit.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Really?
But you're not the one to help her.
No, no, no.
Because you're going to call her a cunt after she does it. Because you're about the money. You're all about the money. That's the only reason why you're here is about the money. No, he's about the money. He don't work. I work. I took a day off on my job. I'm a tow truck driver, bro. Because I'm here to question your ass. Look at you.
These are
Look
very
at you.
productive questions.
You look at you.
Should we do a video?
Look at you. Look at you, bro.
The bus.
I don't give a fuck if the bus is real. I told you Daddy Dunks will be up in your face, bro. I'm here. I'm here in your face. Get that fucking camera out of my face, bro. Do not push me.
It's not okay.
It is okay. You're not gonna pull. I didn't touch his hand. I touched his phone. Get your hand out. Get your fucking phone out of my face, that close, bro. Disrespectful. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Yeah, it is me. It is me. You like that? You like that, Giorgio? You like that?
I love it.
You like that, right? You're a clown, bro. You're a rat. You're a rat. It doesn't matter where I was. I wasn't part of this.
I think I do got a job. Bitch, you work for somebody. You's a worker. Bitch. Yes, sir, boss. No, sir, boss. I'll be there at 2 hours, boss. I get about 6 cars, boss. That's what you is, pussy. You a jealous, envy-ass nigga who mad because the GOAT worked for his goddamn self. That's why all you pussies mad. Because the GOAT worked for himself. Like, what's up with you Massachusetts turncoats? Like, god damn. They talk about black on black crime. Look at this white on white crime that's going on. And it's just a bunch of white people coming at a white man because they're a fucking haters, jealous and fucking envious. Right? And bro, you came right there standing by his car waiting on him, putting a camera in his face, walking next to him like you his side hoe or something. He put the camera back in your face. And then your bitch ass act like you want to get tough and slap his hand, bro. Put on for the internet. Bitch, I wish you would do me like that. Bitch, I don't think you got the heart to do me like that. And if you fucking do me like that, it's consequences and repercussions if you put your fucking hands on me, bro. You want to walk up to motherfuckers with your camera like a little hoe, but then when the GOAT put it back in your face, knowing what the fuck he facing, knowing if every action is a reaction, he can get fucked up because of that. And you down there, you know, poking the bear like a pussy you are. Then you get salty and start acting like a bitch. Right? Because he put the camera in your hoe ass face. Then you pushed his arm. Man, I wish you would touch me when I come to Massachusetts, fam. Because I'm going to put my camera right there. And I wish you would, nigga, push my fucking head back like that. Touch me. Like you think it's okay. Like I say, I double dog dare yo bitch ass. I double dog dare you. Man, I wish I was there with the GOAT. Wish I was there with the GOAT. I surely do. I wish I was there with the GOAT that day. Right? He said it's a cut. No, it's not a cut, motherfucker. We're on the right side of history, right? and we're gonna protect everything that's on our side, pussy. I wish I was there. And nigga, I ain't playing. I wish I was there. Because if you would have touched him like that in front of me, man, there would have been consequences and repercussions for you, dog. For real. It would have been consequences and repercussions for fucking with somebody we rock with and you thinking you can put your hands on them trying to be a fucking bully, but you can't bully him. But you're trying to, you're trying to be a bully knowing he on bail. And if his reaction do something, it can get him fucked off. Man, I wish I was there and you put your hands on him, fam. I hope you continue to play this tough shit because you was a pussy when the OG came up there. Your bitch ass was nowhere to be found. Your bitch ass was all on the internet talking about how you and the rest of your hoes, J bitch, was gonna come to Tennessee and do this and do that. Walk around, do this and do that. But he came to your city, you pussy motherfucker. He came to your city to support the GOAT, right? You didn't do shit. It was like a fucking ghost town. None of you pussies were nowhere to be found. None of you pussies was nowhere to be found. I mean, the shit was amazing. But then you want to play with the GOAT. All he been through. And you bitches don't give a fuck. Y'all talking about he corrupt. When he done fucking saved this fucking city and state and brought awareness for corruption all over the fucking world. And you say he corruption? You stupid, ignorant bitches. Man. Internet talk though, and some of they pussies. Cause now one of them pussies won't play like that in my face. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't try me. They wouldn't dare put a fucking whisker on me. And if they do, it come with consequences and repercussions to thinking you tough like that. I don't give a fuck if I'm in your city or not, because the earth is my fucking turf, you bitch ass niggas. Jay Brill, you pussy. Jeff Blum, you pussy. All of y'all pussy. And I double dare dog you hoes to fucking put a whisker on me, to come up to me like you think it's sweet. Because y'all need to keep y'all fucking distance, right? Unless y'all really tough like that. I think you pussy. Me personally. But if you niggas think y'all really tough like that, walk up on me. And that's no threat. That's a fucking promise. Real talk. Like I said, you figure niggas out on the internet day by day. Right. And I done figured these motherfuckers out. I done figured they some bum ass bitches. Right. I figure they bitches cheat on them. Right. Because they sensitive and soft. What type of woman want a soft ass fucking man? What type of woman want a fucking man who complaining like a bitch every day, whining, bitching, moaning, complaining, grinding like a little fucking whore? What type of fucking woman want a man who can't look in the mirror and tell himself, yeah, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep grinding, no matter what? I bet you all they bitches cheat on them. Real talk. It's a fact. Because they pussies. Emotional whores. Oh man.
If I touched her. Call the cops.
Why are you touching little girls?
I didn't touch no little girl. I blocked her phone.
Saw. We got it on
blocked
video.
her phone.
We got it on video. All right, they're coming up.
Call it. Yup. Oh, yup. Go ahead, cry. 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 In the real world. We're in the real world. We're not on the internet no more, Aiden. We're not in the internet no more. We're on real life ground, dude. This ain't internet no more, bro.
He's getting so bad. You say no internet,
You're a
dog.
clown.
Randall, give
You're
him
a clown.
Give him the script,
You're
Randall.
a clown.
Give
You
him the
are
script.
like 15 years
Oh, why
old.
are
You
you
better get out of my face. You are 15 years old. Get out of my
You
face.
just hit a woman.
I moved that camera. I moved that camera. She shouldn't be all up in my face then. She shouldn't be all up in my face. You should not have your 15-year-old there. Blame yourself. Blame yourself. I put my hand up so she didn't get me. I did not
The
touch
camera
her.
says
Just like
otherwise.
he hit me
The
on that
videotape
phone.
says otherwise.
I don't care.
Comment.
Go
Why are you
ahead.
hitting women?
Go
Why
ahead.
are
I
you
didn't
hitting
hit no
teenage
one.
girls?
I didn't hit
Why
no
are
one.
you
Call the
hitting
cops.
teenage
If I hit her,
girls?
call the
Look at her.
cops.
She's all
Call the
upset over
cops.
there.
If I hit her,
He
call the
just hit a
cops.
teenage girl.
Call the cops right
Randall,
here.
your boy
Call
just
the
hit
cops
a
right
teenage
here.
girl.
Call the cops.
He just hit a girl.
You like it?
Oh,
You
hit
like
another
it?
woman. He's hitting
You
another
like it?
woman. He's so
Yeah.
mad. He's so mad.
I'm not
You
worried
sent a
about nothing
caveman
you guys
down
can
here.
do, bro.
Why'd you send the caveman down?
I'm gonna tell you like this. Man. Good morning, Naughty. Man. Oh my God. Then he snatching posters down of what people holding up. Bitch, if you touch anything of mine, man, I wish I was there. I ain't lying. I wish I was there. Because bitch, you ain't got the right to touch nothing, hoe ass nigga. Man, then you gonna snatch that woman, post down, push that little girl hand back. Man. Then walk up on a woman like that, boy. Sorry, bro. Bro, if I was there, bro, I'm telling you, it would have went different, fam. Because I ain't no little bitty dude or small, like the rest of them around there. Like, I got some weight on me, and these two hands are magical as shit. They magical as a motherfucker. Man, I double dog dare your pussy ass when I'm up there for the Wilbur to pull some whole shit like that with me. I dare you, nigga. Any one of you niggas. I dare y'all to think shit sweet. I dare y'all. Like that shit cool. Touching on the motherfucker. Putting their posters down. Oh my God. And I wish Then this bitch.
I touched her. Call the cops.
Why are you touching little girls?
I
What's
didn't
wrong
touch
with you?
no little girl. I
We
blocked
all
her
just
phone.
saw it. We got it on
blocked
video.
her phone.
We got it on
Call
video. All
Call
right, they're
it.
coming out.
Call it.
Ah.
Yup. Oh, yup. Go ahead, cry. Cry.
What?
Cry.
Excuse you?
I put my hand up so her
You hit
phone
her.
didn't come close to me.
Bitch ass nigga, boy. Oh, he's a hoe, boy. He's a hoe. Go ahead and cry. Saying that to a little girl. Tell a little girl, go ahead and cry. But when I call a grown-ass woman a bitch, who done called me a bitch, these pussies get tight. But this bitch told a little girl to go ahead and cry. I ain't saying, you know, like, oh my God. Mm-mm-mm. Ooh. Motherfucker, boy. And then this bitch right here act like he done, you know, calm down his pants. Look at him, y'all.
Bro, I bet you Jess Machado and all them are so butthurt right now that me and Mike got interviews with them.
Yeah.
They were waiting. You hear me? Yeah, you hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. I'm just typing something.
Some motherfucker, bro, I bet they man, shut the fuck up. The fuck is they mad at you for? You're under them. The fuck's... And then this pussy ass nigga smoking a cigarette like he just calmed his pants. Like that was the best calm he done jerkulated in his fucking life. Smiling like a fucking peewee. Bitch, you wouldn't have been smiling. Bitch, you wouldn't have been smiling if I was there. You bitch ass nigga. Your pussy ass wouldn't have been smiling, smoking on a cigarette. For real. For real. But, oh man. Oh, man, I hope cuz have the balls to do that shit to a real nigga like me. Like he think it's sweet or something. Do it to me. Try to tell me not to put my, and then push my hand. Like you think it's sweet or something, nigga, when I come up there. Do that. Do that. Oh, do that. Man, make my motherfucking day like Clint Eastwood, nigga. Cause I promise you, if you fucking put a whisker on me or even get close enough to me where your breath is on me, fam, after all of the whole ass threats and bitch ass shit you been saying, bro, it's not gonna go right for you, dog. Man, it's not. I told motherfuckers, my noodles ain't right. Nigga, I will fuck you up if you put your hands on me, bro. I will fuck you up if you walk up on me like you think it's sweet. I will fuck you up. Bro, I will beat the living shit out you if you walk up on me doing what you did to the goat. And that ain't no threat. That's a motherfucking promise. If you put a fucking whisker or even touch me or walk up on me like you think it's like that, dog, man, it's not gonna go nice for you, fam. Real talk. It's not gonna go nice for you, fam. And I put that on everything. Fucking person put their hands on you or knock your hand out the way when they doing the same damn thing to you. Motherfucker but stay across the street and talk to me. Don't get in my vicinity, nigga. Like real, don't do that. Don't do that, playboy. You know, don't do that. It's not gonna go right for you, playboy. Like real talk. Better get real like you competing for the Olympics. If you think that when I come up there, you think it's sweet that you could touch me or walk up on me like you think you like that, boy, you better start getting ready like you training for the Olympics, motherfucker. For real. I mean that. I ain't man, sorry. And this to any motherfucker who don't like me. Mean that. Yeah, and I'm standing on that shit too. 10 toes. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Shout out to the GOAT, man. Shout out to Jimmy. That was a great show tonight, man. Everything the GOAT going through, and you know what I'm saying? Like, great show tonight, Jimmy. Salute to you, brother. Man, Jimmy, my nigga, man. It's my motherfucking nigga, boy. He a real nigga, though, like in real life. You could tell Jimmy a real nigga. Cause like, if he fuck with you, if you that nigga friend, you his real friend. And he ain't gonna play like he gonna fuck with you. And he know, you know, about how to be a real fucking friend. And that's what we seen tonight on the show with him and the GOAT. And that was great to see. But this RFD reacts to Lawyer You Know watching the closing arguments in the Kouri Richins murder trial. Oh my. Who-wee. Today was a tough day, y'all. It was tough, right? Because this is the part where the lawyer, you know, gonna react to the closing arguments, and I ain't seen it. So I want to see if he gonna have some of the same thoughts as I had, right, or as we had, right, during this close. Obviously, he's not gonna play the whole closing argument. Y'all know how he do. He take the most important pieces and, you know, like woo, 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 and break that shit down. Well, today was tough. It was tough. Why was it tough? Man, 3 hours. 3 hours. The fucking people came back and convicted Kouri Richins on all 5 counts in 3 hours. In 3 hours. 3 hours. Y'all looked at all the testimony in 3 hours? You fucking stupid jurors, right? Okay, y'all convicted her. But this investigation sucked. It had reasonable doubt written all over it. And like somebody said on here, they had their mind made up for they went in there and deliberate. Because it ain't no way, that they heard all of that. Three hours, y'all. 3 hours. Well, and bring my guy on the stage, lawyer you know, so he can spit that real shit to us. Let us know what he thought about closing arguments. I'm intrigued because I like talking to lawyers. I like to see if they thinking how I'm gonna think. They didn't even cut to sleep on it. Let me know if we have any problems, y'all.
Everybody, welcome back into episode of The Lawyer You Know. And today we've got closing arguments in Kouri Richins' case. Everybody knew these were going to be incredibly important for the way this trial was going to go because the defense rested without calling any witnesses, which I think was somewhat of a surprise and maybe not always plan A, but defense's decision to waive their entire case and close their case in chief and rest to put on some sort of evidence. So these closing arguments are the opportunities for the lawyers to connect all the dots, explain to the jury why the evidence is the way they think it is, and most important, what is a closing argument for? It is to arm the jurors that are with you, that see the case the same way that you see it, to go back there in the jury room and argue for your position, to explain to—
Oh, wait. As I heard him saying this dude is intelligent and smart as shit. I'm just gonna hear what he say.
Other jurors, when they say something that's wrong or something you would jump out of your seat and argue against as a lawyer, that is now those jurors' jobs. But you have to give them the arguments. You have to explain to them what reasonable doubt is. As a prosecutor, you have to explain to them how you overcome all those reasonable doubts, how you eliminated all those reasonable doubts, how the evidence you presented is good enough to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And as the defense, you have to arm them with what are the holes in this case? Why are they reasonable doubts? Why are they enough to vote not guilty? Why does probably guilty mean not guilty? You have to do that as a lawyer. You have to give the information to the jurors so that they are going to fight the rest of the jury and convince them to vote the way you think is right. So without further ado, hit that like button and let's get to these closing arguments.
Shout out to Peter, man. He's the truth, bro. He's the truth, bro.
We are going to jump in right at the beginning of the state's closing.
Kouri Richins feels aggrieved and is thus an intensely ambitious person. She feels aggrieved because growing up, her father was an alcoholic who traded parenting for prison, and her mother a gambler who traded parenting for a casino. Kouri Richins thus worked for her aunt, cleaning the homes of rich people in Park City. She was not beneath those homeowners, but she felt that she was. This fueled in her an intense desire to appear privileged, affluent, and successful. She met Eric Richins. He was a successful business owner. He had money. They had a son. Mary wanted to leave Eric Richins, but did not want to leave his money. Their prenuptial was— So Kouri Richins took $250,000 in equity out of Eric Richins' home without him knowing it, so that she could start her own business and earn enough money to leave Eric Richins. Kouri Richins is intensely ambitious. First with Eric's money and then other people's money, Kouri Richins carefully curated the facade of a privileged, affluent, successful business owner. Behind the facade, however, Kouri Richins was incompetent. She took tremendous risks. She borrowed money by any means necessary at exorbitant rates. She gambled other people's money and lost. Her business was imploding. All the while, Kouri Richins was more interested. She dreamed of living in the Midway mansion with Josh, running it as an event center, farming and raising kids, Eric's kids. But she did not have the money to leave Eric or the money to salvage her business. Kouri Richins is an intensely ambitious person. She is a risk taker. There was a way forward. Eric had to die.
All right. So that's how he opens it up. I actually like that opening because you explain who Kouri Richins is last year, how she thought about other options to take care of her problem. But at the end of the day, more detail about she wanted to get divorced. Prenup said she couldn't. She thought that she could kill him and get his money because she didn't know about the trust. I probably would have put in a little bit more details. And I'll tell you a little bit later on in the discussion how I would have framed this better because I really liked that beginning. I feel like he got a little disjointed as we go throughout the rest of the closing. I'm going to summarize a lot of it. Obviously, these were like hours and hours and hours.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. He right. Like when I think about that ambitious word, like even though I felt like the jury had their mind made up, the way he started it, ambitious risk taker.
That they say long and a little too disjointed. I thought it was very boring at times, but I really like that intro. So I want to start with that. He does go through the 5 counts. He talks a little bit about reasonable doubt. And then he did something that I was kind of shocked that he did. And it was how he described the whole Carmen and illicit street drugs situation.
What you say is not evidence. And as this count is at the top in the red banner. We then quote some witness testimony and we cite the transcript, page, lines, 2.5.
So he also talks about how they like to cite the page and line to tell you that everything they're saying with this connected evidence, but the defense will not. All right, he's going to go through the 5 charges, and now is where he's going to get to Carmen.
He intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Eric Richins here by means of administering to him the illicit street drugs that she purchased from Carmen Lauber. She intended to kill him with the illicit street drugs. It doesn't matter what illicit street drugs. We'll get into it more. It doesn't matter if it was the propofol, it was the fentanyl that actually killed him, if it was oxy or some other illicit street drugs. She bought illicit street drugs to kill Eric Richins. That's what matters.
So we've talked about this and how theoretically that could be right. The defense asks for a motion for mistrial saying that it's totally inappropriate. Judge has their matter which she intended to give him is that she intended to kill. But why I thought this was a mistake potentially by the state is, do you want us to believe your witnesses or do you not? Do you want us to believe the testimony you put forward or do you not? Because in openings and with Carmen and with Robbie, you made it clear that you believe and you proved to this jury the same way you've proved so many other facts in this case. You proved to this jury that Kouri asked for and wanted fentanyl to kill Eric with the fentanyl, and the fentanyl ended up, a boatload of fentanyl ended up in his stomach, and that is how he died from a fentanyl overdose. So why backtrack from that? Do you believe your own evidence? Do you believe you proved it beyond a reasonable doubt or do you not? Because they proved that Kouri asked Carmen for fentanyl and Carmen got fentanyl from Robbie and Carmen gave fentanyl to Kouri in the same exact way they proved just about everything in this case by witness testimony and circumstantial evidence that corroborate different things. So why do I feel like now you don't believe you proved that Kouri asked for fentanyl or that Kouri knew it was fentanyl? And even in this closing argument, he's going to argue certain points that prove that Kouri knew it was fentanyl. And so that's why I didn't really like the way he kind of pussyfooted around that and made it seem like, oh, well, we don't have to actually prove it's fentanyl. I would just go full bore because if you've got jurors with you as a lawyer at this point, like they're going to believe it's fentanyl. They're going to believe Robbie, and you got all the way through, even to Detective O'Driscoll. So that to me was, now I guess, listen, if you want to, keep all your options open, and if there's one juror back there that's like, well, I don't believe that she asked for fentanyl, and they're like, well, they don't even have to. It could be anything. Then you really start to almost ask for a runaway jury to be like, she's bad. We hate her enough. Then they talk about the aggravated, why it's aggravated M because of she did it for money. And she did it by administering a substance in a lethal amount. And then I like this slide about the motive, means, and opportunity, because I've been saying this is kind of their strongest points throughout this case. And this is why I believe Kouri Richins probably killed Eric Richins, because she had the motive, she had the means, and she had the opportunity, right? We get a lot of the money motive in this. We get a lot of the affair motive in this. We got a lot.
He always said he probably, like, Mo is scared. But he say probably though. But you know, we know what happened.
Of it throughout the trial. She had the means, right? She bought the pills from Carmen, if you believe him. Carmen got the fentanyl from Robbie, and she was alone with Eric, and she was making his food and drink. And then she had the opportunity, last one with him, again, eating the food and drink. They go through some of the quotes, how she'd be better off without Eric. They go through the life insurance purchases and changes, how she asked for the Michael Jackson stuff because it kills. Again, this is kind of, it was like, the appearance of the perfect life. If she really wanted this facade and this appearance of the perfect life, and she cared so much about money, which is so much of this trial was about money, why was she going to leave the rich guy for the handyman? Right? Like, was the affair actually motive, or was the affair just something that happened to be going on? That was just an interesting thought-provoking point. They then, when they discuss Robbie's testimony and Carmen's testimony, how it corroborates their point of view, they have to use Robbie's recorded interview, the prior inconsistent statement they had to play. They didn't talk about what he testified to. They didn't talk about the evidence that came out at trial. Instead, they talked about that prior inconsistent statement they impeached him with. Again, he continues to say illicit street drugs, how maybe it was fentanyl, maybe not, but that's how she wanted to kill him. And regardless of what she was ordering, that was her plan, that was her intention, meaning Kouri's. He also talks about a lot of the corroborating info for Carmen, but a lot of the text messages between Carmen and Kouri were deleted. He talks about what their use of the self-serving journal was. Because I asked you guys, what's the point of this? And he said that she was writing these things down to help herself out, to make sure it looked like, and she could tell a story and memorize a story, because it's hard to keep a lie consistent, is basically what he was arguing. And that's why she was writing down, how did this happen? Did that happen? I thought that was really good. And the lemon shot was actually just lemon and fentanyl. That's him trying to explain away why there's no alcohol in Eric Richins' stomach. Having to nitpick and explain things that don't make sense with their own evidence and theory of the case. But I felt that a lot.
It didn't make sense. Oh, wait.
During his closing. Then he says it was intent. A lot of people have been asking me about the quetiapine, which was Kouri's prescription, and if that was important or not. Here's how he explained it, and you tell me in the comments if you felt like this point landed or not. The quetiapine is important because it shows intention. Then they play the call where the ME tells her that quetiapine's in the system, and she acts like she doesn't know what it is, but it is her prescription. So two things. He says that basic cover-up and feigning ignorance is proof of intention. So how do you think that proves intention? I'm not sure. Second, he thinks for sure she knew what it was and was faking that she didn't. And I think that a lot of the chat said, but a lot of people said, well, she wouldn't know the name or whatever. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. And then he gets to the notebooks and walk the dog letter. And this was an interesting the entire time that was borne out. So let's go to 520.
We're going to discuss 911 call in a minute. This is receiver activation. 32212. When we're in the 911 call, she's on receiver on her phone. The 911 call operator asks her, are you on speakerphone? She says yes. No. She's on receiver.
Actually, I think I missed it. Because that whole 15 minutes before was important to me, but I must have written down the wrong timestamp. So let's, okay, so quetiapine, and then it was the very next thing. Here we go.
Quetiapine inside her, the ignorance. She covers up her conduct in murdering Eric Richins in several ways throughout, beginning the night she murdered him, all the way through the walk the dog letter. In the orange notebook, she writes, she jumped out of bed, ran for another device, grabbed her phone, and called 911. The evidence proves that is not true. The evidence proves that when she returned to their bedroom, Kouri Richins says she was in Ashton's room. There's no evidence of that. But she returned from somewhere to their bedroom.
So there's no evidence of that is actually absolutely incorrect and not true. They presented multiple pieces of evidence where Kouri Richins said she was in Ashton's room. Now, if he wants to say that he doesn't believe Kouri and she could be lying and that could be self-serving and whatever, fine. But there is absolutely record evidence that she was in her son's room. So you can't get that type of stuff twisted. Good point for the state overall, that she says she immediately went to help, and that's not really what the phone data shows.
Lock her phone, put it on speaker. There's no call detail records showing a call at that time. But she may have called on Wi-Fi, somebody. That would not appear in the call detail records. It would appear on her phone if her phone had not been deleted.
Objection, Your Honor. These are facts that are wrong.
Please have a seat.
And the judge basically tells her to sit down and close her mouth. I don't think the judge was being rude. I think it was two things. Maybe this judge doesn't like objections during closings, which a lot of judges don't, and he lets her go on this huge objection and argument after the first close, which we'll talk about. But also, this is part of the leeway that the other side gets if it is proven that you deleted phone calls and text messages or deleted your phone. You can't delete everything and say it doesn't exist because the data that they do have, they're allowed to make some reasonable inferences against you. Like we could tell her phone receiver was turned on or whatever he said. Maybe she made a phone call. We'll never know because she deleted it. He's absolutely allowed to drive a truck through those arguments because she deleted everything off her phone. If you wanted him to show it and it was nothing bad, why'd you delete it? So the judge is like, chill, sit down.
She then unlocked her phone again at 308, 310, 319, 319. And then 15 minutes later.
This is really damning to me.
Yeah.
307 activation. 308, she's walking around. 310, she's walking around. 315, she's walking around. 319, she's walking around.
Damn.
Now, of course, it's possible that she got her phone and was walking around before she noticed. It's really damning for the jury to go back there and be like, man, that doesn't look good. Is it enough to prove beyond a reasonable doubt? No. But is this going to be a piece of the circumstantial evidence that they use to get there?
She called 911. That is not immediately called 911. Perhaps she was staging the scene during these 15 minutes.
I don't know how the scene was staged, but unlike the Banfield case, which we just watched, so that's like fresh on my mind. Like that was definitely staged.
We're going to discuss the 911 call in a minute. This is a receiver activation. At 3:22:12, when we're in the 911 call, she's on receiver on her phone. The 911 call operator asks her, "Are you on speakerphone?" She says yes. No, she's on receiver. Before we play this, sorry. If you listen to it, you'll hear the first minute. Her friend Chelsea Barney, the sound of a wife becoming a black widow.
That's another thing the defense objected to, calling her a black widow. But he specifically references her friend calling her a black widow, which again, maybe going too far. That feels totally appropriate for closing argument to me. I don't know if their rules are different. The defense seemed very offended by this. I was like, if it came up at trial and somebody called her that, like I could build a whole theme around that, frankly. The same thing when he calls her a narcissist based on her behavior. The defense is like, there's no diagnosis of a narcissist. I was like, I mean, you can make these kind of arguments, or when the defense argued objection, or when they asked for a mistrial because he's speculating as to what was on Kouri Richins' mind. It's like, if you have text messages and conversations and actions and testimony about what she was doing, I think it's fair game to say, this is why she did it, or this is what she was thinking. That's argument. That's reasonable inferences from the facts and the evidence. So most of the things they argued about for the mistrial, I was like, it weakens the one good argument they had, which we're going to talk about when we get there. So what he also says, which I thought was an amazing point. Again, I hope that these good points didn't get lost in the disjointed close because it was not engaging. It was not a great free-flowing close, but there were some good nuggets in here. Like, if you watch this or listen to this 911 call, it's 6 minutes before she starts dialing 911.
Now
6 minutes.
Oh,
you really think that can save your husband's life?
Oh,
are you going to argue with the 911 operator and wait 6 minutes? Now, there's an argument to the other side that she's got to move a large human being that is dead weight, literally, and pull him off the bed, and it's very difficult. But man, I think you'd be more frantic and try to do it ASAP. I think most people would have probably, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I would try to start doing it before I call 911 because maybe I would screw something up. But you would jump on that ASAP. So the 15 minutes of her phone being on and her not calling 911 plus 6 minutes from when she's on the phone with the 911 operator, I think that's a pretty compelling point. Not a good look. People had problems with that in the O'Keefe case with the Karen Reed situation. Could be nitpicking, or people could think, oh yeah, that's indicative. I think she actually does call him or Eric or my husband because she wanted everybody to make sure that excellent point by the state.
The 911 call. When she calls her father-in-law, Eric's dad, Kouri Richins, arrives. He wasn't breathing. I went to bed. I was in Acton's room. He was having nightmares. I wasn't there. It was not me. Her alibi. Sheriff deputies gave Kouri Richins early morning of March 4th to write out what happened. It says, describe in detail what you saw, know, or heard of the incident. Where did she start? Eric and I put the kids to bed around 9 p.m. We had a drink.
Where did the night start? Where did the incident start to Kouri Richins? This was an excellent point to me. This was like a light bulb moment to me. as far as conscience of guilt goes.
Man, he ain't lying.
In Kouri Richins' mind, that's when the incident started. It was the drink, and she knew it because she put the fentanyl in the drink. She didn't start with, I walked into the bedroom at 3 a.m. My husband was not breathing and cold.
Okay, so how did this start? I don't know. I went to bed, touched my wife, and she was cold, and I called 911. That's where it started. Why would it start with the drink? Why wouldn't you have started with dinner? We had dinner that night, or I went to work in the morning. Eric was at work all day. Maybe he was working outside in the heat. Maybe it's heat stroke. I don't know. We got home fine with dinner. Then we hung out with the kids. We put the kids to bed. We had a drink.
I got to agree.
Would have made a much bigger deal about this because when he said, but again, maybe it's just me. And that's why sometimes you have to hit a bunch of different things because you never know what's going to be the light bulb moment for a jerk. But I thought this was an excellent point. I think there's just a little bit more I want to hear from it.
The incident for her begins around 9:15 when she has the drink because she knows that is in fact when the incident began.
Okay, so that was it. Then he goes into the fact that,
man, he make excellent points when he talking about this dude Cross. I agree with him. Oh, damn.
She had plans with the mansion and what she was going to do with C&E. I'm going to jump ahead a few minutes here. Dog litter.
Kouri Richins says, they told me and asked if Carmen could get him some pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico. Referred back to pain pills and Mexico from fentanyl. Sorry, pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico. Kouri Richins, 4 months after she's been arrested for Eric Richins' murder, a year and a half after he murdered him, she knows that she bought fentanyl, and she has to explain it. And how does she explain it?
So does she know she bought fentanyl? Did she ask for fentanyl, or does it not matter what she asked for and it doesn't matter what she bought? This is why I didn't like that little snippet he put in there that it could be anything. It doesn't have to be fentanyl. It's like, just stick with your argument. Be confident.
Ocean, I ain't lying. Like, listening to the lawyer, he like some of the points that I said that they like the 6-minute phone call. Man. The lawyer, right? Man, shout out to Prince Jimmy. He set the chat room in the building. Man, y'all know I love Jimmy to death, man. Everybody know that. The Jimmy Ray, hold up, y'all. Hold up. I'm sorry. Oh, don't blunder on me. Now much, Jimmy. I respect you and appreciate you for that so much, dog. Let me turn you up real quick, Jimmy. Hold up. Yeah, tell Jimmy, I don't know how to do that. If y'all go to my last video, I was asking how you do that, how you redirect. But let me turn y'all up again, man. Shout out to Jimmy. Man, I'm doing great. Salute to all you beautiful peoples over here. The redirect is great. Man, I'm going to have to talk to somebody on the phone to figure that out. Y'all know I'm a boomer as they come, right? Man, I love Jimmy. And I swear, if y'all rewind this, I kept pushing my live back because Jimmy live was so fucking good tonight. Shout out to there you go. Go to YouTube studio, go to settings, community mother. Let me screenshot this shit. Screenshot. I'll be doing that soon. Look, I was talking, and I promise you, if y'all rewind it to the beginning, I was talking about how Jimmy is a great fucking friend, right? It's a great friend. Like, it's, to the people he really friends with, who he loyal to, right? That moment tonight, like with the GOAT, it was so fucking good and funny and shit. Right? Man, I was over here dying. But it was a great, like, fucking moment where you know what everything the GOAT going through, right? And you know, the GOAT get on there and say, man, I'm a little high. I say, GOAT, me too. He said, Ray say me, yeah, I'm high too. And I'm getting high right there, GOAT. And the GOAT was on there going, boy, you know. And you know, when you're a person who smoke weed, you can tell. Oh, I missed the prank call. What's up to everybody on her? I don't want nobody to feel excluded. What's up to everybody, right? And you could tell the GOAT was high because when I'm high, I be going and going and going. But he was talking this shit and he was popping his collar on him. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, man, shout out to Jimmy, man. He the absolute truth. And I respect and appreciate you so much, dog. For real. I'm riding for you, right? And I know we watching one of your favorites, man. We watching Peter, right? Peter, right? Now, I ain't gonna lie to everybody. Everybody know that I thought it was reasonable doubt. I'm talking about to the upper room in them when it came to this case, right? Peter did too. But he said he thought she was probably guilty. But he said, you know, with his dad, Big George, that he said he thought that she was going to get convicted. But this is just his breakdown of the closing arguments, right? Just to see if what I was saying, you know, because I know I ain't as smart as him or a lot of the people who do this. But just to see if I was close. But I know this for sure. I ain't as equipped to the law, right? You can know the law, right? The trial, because you know, like whoop-de-whoop, like the circumstantial evidence, the means, the motive, and the opportunity. That won this case for the state where Kouri Richins got convicted of all 5 counts, y'all. In 3 hours. And a reasonable doubt. Man, it was raining like a Category 5 storm over this, man. I'm sorry. Let's get back to it. I apologize.
Your argument, she wanted to just stick with that. I like that confidence more, frankly. And if I think jurors probably do too, although some of them might not even notice these technicalities.
A year and a half after murdering Eric Richins, she made it on Eric. Oh, I bought it for Eric. That's the sum of the evidence. Her self-serving statement asking her brother to testify falsely that she bought it from Eric. For Eric. Year and a half after she murdered. Kouri Richins did not tell the 911 dispatcher, hey, I just bought some fentanyl for Eric. She didn't tell the paramedics. He might be dying from the fentanyl I just bought for him. He didn't tell the deputies that responded.
And you're not afraid of like a drug crime, buying pain pills off the street for your husband who has back pain or Lyme disease, whatever. Like, you're not worried about it at that point if your husband's dying. You're really trying to help him. Do they need a pump? Like, can they save his life? Right? So it's not something that you hold back. And that's why the walk the dog letter was a bigger deal to me than a lot of people said, oh, I hadn't heard anything about. If this is the theory she was trying to go with, it really seems false based on that's what it lines up with me. We'll hear what the defense says about it.
When I heard that walk the dog letter, like when I first heard it, I didn't think it was nothing, right? But you know, I had one lawyer in my ear who was telling me the same thing Peter was telling me, right? That it was that, but you know, when I was listening to Big George say, how can they look at this letter and just, you know, like see, it's like that when it's a conversation and the letter never got out. But so that in this case, right, what I did learn is circumstantial evidence. It's everything, right? Like, but not just that, right? It's in Utah. We'll get to it. I'll talk more. Let's keep going.
He didn't tell Dr. Ulmer, didn't tell Christensen, didn't tell her friends, didn't tell her family. All the off-ramps she had to, the opportunity to take to say, hey, I'd love to fit in over Eric. She doesn't, because it did not happen. She did not concoct this story until a year and a half after she killed him. And it is a story. It's a fake story that she wants her brother to testify to.
All right, then he goes into people make up stories. They're inconsistent. He talks about some of the inconsistencies. One time they drank in the kitchen, another time they drank in the bedroom. Inconsistencies and could be different with the text messages because they were further proof that she committed these crimes. Again, that's something I would have hammered multiple times. You don't delete text messages if there's nothing bad in there. We could have learned so much of what happened to Eric and proved her innocence from her text messages, but instead she deleted them all. Why would somebody delete her text messages? Same thing with the Google searches. Why would somebody Google these things? Because they're guilty. It's consciousness of guilt. That's what you do with arguments like that, or with evidence like that. Every shred of evidence proves Eric did not do this to himself. Even Kouri said that. Then, of course, financial motive, everything like that. She sucked at finances. So part of like what was disjointed about this to me is they had the motive, means, and opportunity, right? To me, I liked a lot of what he did. He knows this case so much better than I do. Just off the top of my head, a lot of people ask me, oh, Peter, what would you have done different? Things like that. And I'm not able to do this live, so I want to try to anticipate some of the questions you guys are going to have. I would have done a timeline. This is how I know Kouri Richins is guilty of murdering Eric, because of what she did and said before the crime, during the crime, and after the crime. What did she do before the crime? All these financial woes, lied to Eric, stole the $250,000, opened up a life insurance policy without him knowing about it, had an affair, was planning things after his death, wanted him to be gone, said it would be better if he was gone. That's what a guilty person does before the crime. Then what did she do during the crime? She asked for the timeline. She tried to kill him dead with the drugs in his system. She makes up a story to make herself sound like a widow and the crime. Then what does she do after? She continues to profit. Insurance proceeds, sues for the trust, writes a children's book, tries to do everything she can to make $1 off of Eric. And then she deletes her phone, deletes her text messages, deletes her call logs, lies to everybody, asks people to make up stories for her, asks people to testify to her about things that aren't true, makes up this story about Mexico, besmirches Eric's good name.
Ooh, God damn. Ooh. Man, I'm telling you, Cuz was telling me this whole time that she was going to get convicted. But he was also telling me, that it was a lot of reasonable doubt, but he thought that she was 80% guilty. And he said, when they did the second trial, we break down him and Big George, he said that they was going to convict her. Oh, wait, man. That's why I say being a civilian coming, how to put a case together, when you got to lay foundation and be able to bring stuff in, and now when I think about that walk the dog letter, I'm confused because, like I say, Peter made great points, but Big George made great points to his father, and to where it was just like telling them to make sure they get their timeline correct because she's trying to make sure, it could prove her innocence. But damn, the way Peter did it, we. But I ain't lying. I agree with Big George more than I do with Peter, though. And that's real talk. I think Big George was right.
Creates and fabricates an entire story that is just not true. That's what somebody does when they know they're guilty. They try to cover up the crime. That's how I would have done it, before, during, and after. Because there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that makes her look guilty. But I feel like he tried to anticipate the defense's arguments a little bit too much and respond to them in his first closing, as opposed to just tell the story the way that it is for you and be confident, like he was in opening. He was much more confident stating things as fact in opening than he was in closing, which frankly should be the easier and better time to do that. Then he started making arguments like, well, Kouri needed the cash immediately when she killed Eric, and she was supposed to close on the mansion, but she needed Eric dead first, which is the same thing that happened in the first time that she tried to kill Eric. She needed to close on that other house. It's like, but she didn't kill him. She still closed on the house. Eric knew about the Midway mansion. He was like going to celebrate about the Midway mansion with her, even if she was wrong about it being a good buy, and even if he was mad that she bought it. Like, she definitely didn't need him to die before the closing. That made no sense to me. Then we get to the narcissist behavior. So let's listen to that.
Knew that much of his estate was insurance coverage. Eric's insurance money, of the administration of any substance, but we know that's how she was illegal. That's the substance, lethal. That's Kouri Richins. Now, count 2, the aggravated murder. The elements are the same as count 1. The only difference is attempt to making the Moscow Mule. Here, the aggravated murder count proves the attempted aggravated murder count and vice versa.
All right, so I do want to listen to this. I missed the part where he calls her a narcissist, so I'll just tell you what he said. He said she's a narcissist when you view how she reacted to certain evidence and not others. She really cared when Carrington testified, but not when other people testified. I feel like I got to find it.
Damn.
Some of it got paid out to the trust, some of it then taking money from Eric's home equity, different than taking. There's an interesting thought here. Did she close on the Midway mansion in spite of murdering Eric? Or did she close on it because she murdered Eric? She hedged. She was supposed to close on the 4th. She didn't want to close until she knew Eric Richins was dead. She knew she would have his money. She knew she could do something with the mansion. And that's why when everybody else signed on the 4th, or in advance of the 4th, she signed on the 5th.
And that argument made no sense to me.
It's unconscionable that she closed. After closing
Thank you to everybody who came in here.
Liabilities were right about $8 million, and she was in the hole $1.6 million. Her net worth was negative $1.6 million when her Eric. And that her business was in financial distress, her financial enterprise was collapsing, had been collapsing, and but for a significant infusion of cash and capital would continue to collapse. That significant infusion of cash and capital was supposed to be Eric Richins' money. You have a fortunate.
Here we go. This is the part.
Perspective during this case, and that you get to observe the defendant. You get to observe Kouri Richins. And you observe her affect with some, when some witnesses testify, and you observe her affect change when other witnesses testify.
Very interesting for him to bring this up and argue it. It's not evidence. Some judges think you shouldn't consider the defendant's facial expressions because it's not evidence, and they should only consider evidence and nothing that's not evidence. Other judges and people think that it's fair game because they're in the courtroom, they're human beings, and she's making facial expressions. And this is something that I did agree with the defense objecting with, is the way he's going to characterize and argue what he thinks her facial expressions mean, what he picks up from her facial expressions, which again is not evidence. So he's not making an argument based on the evidence. He's not making reasonable inferences or arguments based on pieces of evidence that came in. And that's what makes it totally inappropriate to me. Not a mistrial inappropriate, but totally inappropriate.
Yeah. This was terrible, y'all. Calling her a narcissist and like Peter said, it was inappropriate. And the one thing I didn't like about this leave it to beav it looking motherfucker, he didn't speak on how terrible the investigation was. And this is mind-boggling.
And the judge ends up having to make an instruction after argument by the defense that the jury's got to rely on their own interpretation and what they remember her reactions to be, not the defendant's or the prosecutor's characterizations of that. And that's never good. When after your closing argument, the judge has to make an instruction to the jury, but I don't think it ended up being a huge deal. But I think I'm going to hazard a guess that most of you guys loved this line of argument.
You observed that when we played the 911 call during trial, her affect was live. No emotion. You also observed that when Brooke Carrington testified about the financial distress of her business, she was exercised because that testimony pierced her facade. It pierced her facade of being a successful, privileged, and affluent person. It was a narcissistic injury. She was bothered because the world saw she is indeed not a success and not Adeline. The bulk of Eric Richins' estate was in insurance coverage.
All right, now we're going to jump to the attempted M. He says basically the attempted M and the M prove each other. And to me, this is just not a good.
The elements are the same as count one. The only difference is ordering the drugs. Here, the aggravated murder count proves the attempted aggravated murder count and vice versa. The commonalities between Kouri Richins' conduct are not coincidental. In each instance, she purchased drugs and pawned them over a few days out. In each instance, she spoke with the IRS a few days out. Taxes were on her mind. Eric would find out if the IRS was out there. In each case, she had an immediate financial stressor. We just discussed closing on the Midway Mansion. If you look at Brooke Carrington's materials, she had a note due on Chelsea Barney's house.
So what he's basically trying to do is her MO is the same. Her modus operandi. The way she attempts to commit these crimes is exactly the same. And because of that, you should convict her on the attempt and the aggravated murder. To me, that just ain't how it works. You've got to actually prove the attempt. And they have little to no actual evidence to prove the attempt to me on February 14th.
None. They have no evidence to prove of attempted murder, man. This, man.
On March 15th.
She had a meeting in a way that Eric would ingest it. On Valentine's Day, it was a sandwich. When she murdered him, it was a drink. Notice that she learned from her mistake. One can season a sandwich with fentanyl. Eric can eat it. Tell something's wrong, set the fentanyl-laced sandwich aside.
Oh, my. Sandwich.
Got shot back. By the time Eric would notice, the shot was in. It was in his body. Moscow Mule, just be good and sure. In each case, she leaves Eric alone. She distances herself from the dirty deed. She leaves the bedroom when she murders him. She leaves the county when she attempts to murder him. As part of her alibi. Not only can she not be present, she has to be distant. So that when she calls 911, she says, I wasn't even there. I was in Utah County. And in each case, she has a delayed response, right? It's the delayed response in calling 911 when she murders him. And it's her delayed response in returning home when she failed to murder him. The element of, again, is it Kouri Richins? Yes, she is the person with the means, motive, and the opportunity. The motive.
And that is the most compelling way to set this up for the jury. So I am glad that he did that again and used that PowerPoint again. Now, is it enough proof beyond reasonable doubt? That's going to be up to the jury. Let's see. She craved attention. The calls after February 14th to me, Eric to his friends, and the kind of circumstantial, vague things they said and were able to get in above hearsay objections, to me is just not enough evidence to prove the attempt. Joking with the friends about poison, again, not enough to me. And then they get into the insurance fraud and the forgery. It makes sense, but the evidence I think was weak. It probably wasn't Eric. They didn't say that it was Kouri. He says they didn't lift the pen. We'll talk about it later. I don't remember what he said about that later. Did they prove that Eric didn't give her authority? I don't think they did. Like, didn't really seem like they tried to. I don't know how much they care about those counts. But he does say something like, all the evidence in this case proves that Kouri doesn't ask for permission, she takes. And while that's a good punchline, and again, you know, the generally bad gal rule, Kouri Richins, bad person, she must be committing crimes. But does it actually prove that she didn't ask for permission? Did they actually provide a shred of evidence that she didn't ask for permission to specifically sign that document? I just don't think they did. And
Thank you. This ain't me saying it. This is Peter saying it. Lawyer, you know him. They didn't prove that. Nothing. Not a Titi Nathaniel. Man.
Win on those fraud counts. Force with murder? It's like, what? Never heard that before. Comparing the text with Eric and Josh, I think was good. She promised, you know, Josh, things would be different. by Friday because she planned to kill Eric, and she was so much nicer to Josh and worse to Eric. Again, I think it's going to make the jury hate her. And then he said, Josh took the stand and he was gutted. It was a grown-ass man gutted. But her affect, nothing. Again, I think it's inappropriate that he comments on her affect or facial expressions, but all these lawyers were following what people were saying online, in my opinion, because that was a big deal to people online and a lot of what the defense does. So he says there's no evidence of basically everything the defense is going to try to argue. So therefore, you have to convict Kouri Richins. Then we had the objections, the arguments for mistrial, for everything we already talked about. I kind of brought it up as we went through his closing, the Black Widow stuff, the narcissist stuff, the commenting on her demeanor. And the only thing that the judge actually did an instruction on was commenting on her demeanor.
Oh.
So then we get to the defense closing. And they tell the story of what Kouri went through that night, how Kouri felt. Then they describe reasonable doubt and how there are other reasonable expectations of what happened. That is reasonable doubt. All the evidence we heard, she was excited about the Midway Mansion, right or wrong about that. We heard that she laid down with her son. She consistently told everybody that. And then she says something like, we don't know for sure what happened during those 15 minutes when Kouri's phone was on and she was walking around. To me, that shows they know that's a big, weak piece of evidence. I probably just wouldn't have even mentioned that. I would not try to explain something away that you can't explain away. And when the defense was talking about Kouri Richins' phone moving around for 15 minutes before she called 911, they probably should have skipped that if they didn't have anything good to say or a way to explain it. Then they show the witch versus the widow again. Or she didn't grieve appropriately or didn't want to tell her kids when it's the most miserable time in a person's life, the worst thing that's ever happened to you. The investigation was biased and sloppy. It was all that it only could have been Kouri Richins because she would have given consent and they didn't. And why would she lie about his drug use over and over again if that's all she would have had to say to point them in that direction and for them to be like, oh, well, everything would have changed if Kouri was like, yes, Eric told me he abused drugs, pain pills, fentanyl, street drugs all the time. He didn't want to tell his family or anybody. If she would have just said that. The prosecution could argue she was trying to cover it up. Fine. But a lot of things would have changed in a lot of these people's testimony, like Eric's tolerance to it, or should we have searched Eric's truck or the pill bottles next to the next switch, whatever. If he was using it a lot, and that was actually true, which I don't believe it was true, Kouri could have said that from the beginning, and she didn't. So I thought that was kind of a good point, but also a good point for the prosecution that she didn't, in fact, say that. The PI was only there, the private investigator was only there to make sure it was Kouri, didn't look to anybody else because it was the Richins family. And then she goes on a little chunk of arguing about it being the Richins family, and I think a lot of you would find this kind of line of argument interesting.
It's because they know they don't have enough. They're still trying to prove Kouri Richins guilty. So let's talk about Todd Gabler. In comes Todd Gabler, the private investigator. Jeff Driscoll told you, well, he was an investigator for the estate. Just the civil case. Seriously? He's putting trackers on the car. He's providing evidence to the police. Detective Woody testified that this information from the private investigators would help advance their investigation. He testified he was in the house alone, knew when he found things. He said he didn't need a babysitter while he did all these things, which is different than what Clint Benson told you. He said nobody was. Todd Gabler was in and out of that house numerous times by himself. He also told you that he was completely fair and unbiased, testing two hypotheses. His hypotheses, suicide and homicide. He ignored the others, including acid. And how did he handle this unbiased testing of hypotheses? You heard Josh Grossman. He said the first time he talked to Todd Gabler said right out of the gate, Kouri killed Eric. Josh told you that tainted what he thought of next. How does it not taint an interview when your opening line is, oh, Kouri killed Eric, so now let's tell me what you know. Josh told you he started looking back at things differently than he had before because of that. Like I said, he tracked Kouri's car, he tracked her family's car, he tracked Carmen's Lauber car. He didn't track Cody Wright's car. He had more to gain from Eric's death than anyone. He didn't track anyone involved in the civil case regarding the trust. He only tracked people that he thought might lead to information for law enforcement. Did he follow up on Eric's trip to Mexico shortly before the death? No. Did he go to Mexico? Did he try and figure out where Eric had been in New Mexico? No. Nothing about that investigation was unbiased. Nothing. He passed it all on to law enforcement. And then what he did is he said to law enforcement, you should talk to Carmen Lauber. She's on the ropes in drugs. This would be a really good time to interview her because she would be very likely to be compliant at this time. Everything about this investigation was led by the Richins family. They started on day one and they continued until trial. They are the ones who initially hired and paid for experts. Their private investigator gave information to the police. And by the way, Gabler testified that he followed all the rules of being a private investigator. And that may very well be true, but he doesn't have to operate under the Constitution. There's a reason that we have rights under the Constitution. There is a reason that law enforcement has to get warrants to enter your home, to take electronics, to search your house. It is to protect the citizens of our country. It is to protect the innocent. Sidestepping these important constitutional rights by hiring a private investigator who then let law enforcement know what to You taints this entire investigation. And you know that is terrifying.
Man.
It's terrifying. If someone has enough money to hire and turn over to police.
Yes.
We have a constitution.
I kind of think that might hit with some jurors, but that's clearly very different than law enforcement rules and what they have to abide by to protect our constitutional rights. Is that how it should be? If somebody's got enough money, they can make sure they can get all the evidence and all the dirt on you they possibly can to make sure they arrest you and prosecute you for a crime. I think it's possible that argument. I thought that was a good argument. I didn't necessarily
that was a great argument
like that because there are some people that feel like the Richins family was driving this investigation, and that argument is again arming jurors that may agree with Kouri Richins' side to go back there and argue with the other jurors. That's the point of a closing argument.
For a reason, is to protect us all. I want to talk about the lead investigator, Jeff Driscoll. Here's what he testified that his investigation consisted of. He got assigned.
Now you knew she was going to hammer O'Driscoll. You knew it, and she does.
The case sometime in March of 2023. He got a search warrant for some medical records. He thinks he got a search warrant for a couple of cell phones. He interviewed Chelsea Barney, where they discovered that they were wrong about some text messages. Law enforcement was wrong, but they thought they were looking for. He interviewed someone named Jake Sorensen, who must not have had anything important to say because we never heard from him. And he interviewed Carmen Lover because he was told to by the private investigator. That's it. That was the investigation. He didn't investigate any other leads. He didn't attempt to corroborate information, particularly in the letter that we saw that Craig wrote to her mother, the walk the dog letter. Now, he told you he didn't need to corroborate that because he didn't get that.
So now is where she's going to go into the fact that maybe the walk the dog letter was just true, which my dad kind of talked about some of that as well.
Yep.
After Kouri was arrested, so again, I guess the same. Interestingly, they were still executing search warrants. They were still trying to find evidence for guilt. They weren't looking at any evidence that might show innocence.
Shouldn't look for evidence that shows innocence, but in reality, they want to find the truth. They don't want to convict innocent people. They should look for all the evidence that shows guilt and innocence.
She said in that letter was true. In fact, at least three things. It is absolutely possible that everything she said in that letter was true. In fact, at least three things in that letter were corroborated by the state's own witnesses. But they didn't investigate it. Again, ignore what might contradict your theory. Confirmation bias. Reasonable doubt. Also remember that letter never went to anyone. So it's nothing more than thoughts on paper. That's all that letter was. What else did he do?
Oh yeah, but it's consciousness of guilt, right? She was thinking it. She did write it down.
Yeah.
He didn't interview the person Eric was talking to in Mexico the night of his death, and we'll come back to that. But he didn't follow up on that. He said that. I didn't follow up on where Eric went in Mexico or who he was communicating with in Mexico when he was there. He didn't investigate what Eric did or where he went on February 14th, 2022. He didn't follow up to see if did Eric go to the hospital that day. In fact, he did nothing regarding that day. Nothing.
And again, I kind of agree with her. He could have gotten a lot more evidence and he just didn't, which is why there's just enough to prove that February 14th attempted. I really don't think that.
What else? He didn't find fentanyl anywhere. Allegedly, there were 90 to 120. And he stopped. Where were
like the car said, nobody ever found any of them anywhere.
Gone. They no longer existed. They couldn't find or test those pills. And we do know that she bought oxycodone. But you know what? There was no oxycodone in Eric's stomach that night. So instead, Detective Woodruff said, well, we wanted to corroborate.
Which goes to Bloodworth saying, oh, it could be anything. She wanted to get pills to give to him. Well, if she wanted to get oxy and gave him oxy and there's no oxy in his stomach, you know, that's where that can start to fall apart a little bit. But, you know, that's why I just would have stuck with what I said with Bloodworth, that it was fentanyl.
The story, I mean, we were going to corroborate. We weren't going to say the story that they fed her. They want to corroborate the truth. They wanted to corroborate a story. Again, let's find what confirms our theory. Let's ignore what doesn't. Confirmation bias. Reasonable doubt. Sitting here in this courtroom after 4 years of investigation, there was an awful lot that O'Driscoll just could not tell you. Things he couldn't. Can't remember what people told in interviews. For example, he was asked, did you know Eric's allergy doctor? It was well, yes, but I can't remember what he said. Well, that might have been important because he testified that EpiPens in the house belonged to the children. Well, maybe because Eric had recently used his a couple of weeks earlier when he had an allergic reaction. He said, well, if I could have a few minutes, I could find out what was said. I could give you more information. We were in trial. He was on the stand 4 years after Eric had died. 3 years after he'd been appointed as lead investigator. And either he wasn't prepared to testify or he just didn't know. He is the lead investigator. How the state elicited testimony. How could he?
This is crazy, right? Even though some corruptive shit they did, that jury did its job. It may took two, but that jury did its job. This lead investigator, this dancing lumberjack, and Mary B would say, he did nothing.
but he's the one they put on. He's the one they relied on to testify about this investigation. You didn't hear from anyone else about the last 3 years of that investigation. They chose him.
I think that's all fair game. Good argument against O'Driscoll. I don't think he was a good witness, and I think she had to highlight that.
You know what else he couldn't testify to? He couldn't testify how the fentanyl got into Eric's system. He said, well, he tested it. There was no evidence, none, that fentanyl was put in a drink. That was argument. Argument is not evidence. And they waited until closing to tell you, oh, she put it in a drink, without any evidence to back that up. Okay.
Also true. They just kind of said that in opening and closing. They did not present evidence that it was put in a drink.
None.
And one of the reasons they didn't, I think, is because the lack of alcohol in Eric's system. She has a comment for the whole ginger beer and fentanyl or lemon and fentanyl.
She made him a drink that night, but that's it. She made him a drink. There's no evidence that fentanyl was in that drink. And the lead detective who couldn't tell you anything, he sat through this entire trial. He heard every witness testify. Opportunity to form his answers, based on what he knew other people had said. And yet, we're talking a bit about deleted text and the phone searches just quick.
So then she gets into the fact that why would you delete your texts and searches? Well, maybe because you're in an affair, maybe because you bought Oxy from Carmen. That's why she deleted the text, which again, sure, fine argument, and kind of what the state said about Carmen, why she deleted the text, because you don't leave drug deal texts open. Google searches, they say things like, this was all after the investigation started. Innocent people are scared too. Okay, fine. Good point. Will the jury buy that? I don't know. Then the talk screen reasonable doubts basically is what she's explaining, that it could just be leftover fentanyl in the system. I was like, the alcohol was not there, so the fentanyl was not an alcoholic drink. Now the state, for the first time, wants to argue, well, maybe she didn't put any alcohol in the Moscow Mule. The ME has no manner of death, and they didn't test the hair follicle. So again, she's just trying to use the reasonable doubts from the scientific evidence. Then she gets to Carmen and how the state barely mentioned Carmen in their closings, and how Kouri bought more drugs after Carmen, which makes no sense. The word fentanyl came from the detectives. We've all heard all of this, at length, the get out of jail free card, all that stuff. She mentions all that again. She also, and this is again some things I think they're learning from listening to what happens online. I didn't ask about the mental health or the learning disabilities to be mean. I did it to show that Carmen is more vulnerable to manipulation by law enforcement. Everything Carmen said on the stand changed. Carmen lied about so many things. Meds she took, who drove to get the drugs, that she never violated drug court, that she didn't drink alcohol that night, and then she told her PO that she did. She lied to the judge to get what she wants, and she is doing that again. And if you can't believe Carmen beyond a reasonable doubt, then you have to vote that Kouri, that was a good line of argument by the defense. Because I think you want to put the whole case on Carmen, because it's true. If they believe Carmen, she's cooked. But if they don't, there's a chance for reasonable doubt. She also says Robbie also changed his story, but the difference is he changed it from what the state wanted to what they didn't. He risked his immunity, not Carmen. Carmen was going to do whatever she could to help herself. He had nothing to gain. Who do you think is more credible, right? They're asking the jury that. I'm asking you guys that. Who do you think was more credible, Robbie or Carmen? Put it in the comment section.
Robbie.
And then one of the ultimate questions. How did Eric Richins ingest fentanyl?
Oh, which this is a good place to bring up. I think that the state did stand up here and they told you that we said things in opening that didn't come in during trial. And that's true. Strategies change during trial. But remember, we are not the ones under an obligation to put on any evidence. It's not us. We're not under an obligation to put on anything. It's them.
And that's how she dealt with them rested when they made that argument. Oh, the defendant's guilty because they didn't put on any evidence. Like, to me, they were going to vote guilty anyway, but that's inappropriate. And jurors should stand up back there and be like, that's not how it's supposed to go. But now she got to get into what actually happened here with the drugs. How did Eric actually ingest this? What are the reasonable explanations is what she's going to give now.
Okay, so what else do we find on that first day that Eric died? What else do they find? The hydrocodone bottle. Whatever happened to that bottle? Why wasn't it tested? What was kept in that bottle? The bottle sitting right by the bed on Eric's nightstand, right next to his phone and watch, looks like immediately in his charger. An expired prescription bottle with nothing in it but residue. Can you see the residue there? Why
Pretty good point. Doesn't look great.
would that be sitting out? A 6-year-old prescription bottle.
Man.
What might be the best way to bring legal pills back from Mexico? Put them in a prescription bottle? Put them in your suitcase? What might be the best way to store your illicit oxycodone? Stick them in a prescription bottle? Put them by your bed? And now that bottle's gone and nobody knows where it is. And nobody
That's a big mishap from the state. Big mishap.
And you saw that white powder, and you can look back when you go back, but you saw that white powdery residue on the nightstand next to Eric. No one tested that either.
Man.
So what's another explanation? What could have happened? Eric was about to take his last painful out of that bottle, put that by the side of his bed. He's on the phone with people in Mexico. He's checking how long it takes to drive from Scottsdale to Nogales. Maybe he knew he was taking fentanyl in Mexico. Maybe he thought it was something else, and he accidentally got fentanyl. Maybe had they tested that bottle, we would know. They didn't. You know what else we know? Though we don't have a prescription for naltrexone, and it appears he wasn't taking it. A drug used to help people control craving for drugs and alcohol. It's not a drug used to treat Lyme disease. There's a reasonable alternative. Reasonable doubt. All right, I'm going to move to motive. The state absolutely did not prove that Kouri's relationship with Josh Grossman was a motive to kill her husband. Josh and Kouri had been seeing each other on and off for about 2 years.
Josh knew that Kouri, Afghanistan, wasn't weird at the time, only when law enforcement made it weird, basically, or the private investigator made it weird. She never got with Josh because she changed after Eric died. Josh even said that. If Kouri really cared about, this was a great, I think I mentioned this before already. If Kouri really cared about money and status, why would she leave the rich guy to go off with the handyman? Then she gets into the gifts or GIFs, how they're tied to the celebration of the Midway Mansion. She explains away again. Is the jury going to buy it? I don't know. And then she kind of gets into near the end of her closing. Then this is where she gets kind of fiery here. So let's take a listen to this.
Well, I guess her opportunity was she was the only one in the house. Who else was in the house, though? Who else had an opportunity to take those pills? Eric. 4 years later, 10,000 searches, over $300,000 worth of expert witnesses, 3 weeks of trial, the FBI, the DEA, Homeland Security, the Summit County Sheriff's Office. They cannot tell you how Eric ingested that fentanyl. They haven't done their job, and now they want you to make inferences based on paper-thin evidence. They speculated on a number of things during closing, and they want to tell you, they want you to do their job for them.
Man.
Tell them no. Tell them if they're going to charge a person in your community with the most serious crime there is, they better have the facts. They better. I want to talk about the elements. The first one, aggravated murder, or knowingly not proven where the pills ended up or how Eric took them. Stay stood up here and argued, well, it really doesn't matter what drug she purchased. As long as it was an illicit street drug, it absolutely matters. Because what did he die of? He died of fentanyl. There was no oxycodone in his system. There was no other drug in his system.
That's everything. You can point out the weak argument by saying, I would have said, why do you think they did that? Why do you think they told you it doesn't need to be fentanyl? Because they proved that the same way they proved everything else, because they know that's not enough. And they know Carmen Lauber's not credible. I would have even just dug into that.
That's proof that she purchased and gave him fentanyl. Oh, and let me talk about Becky White for 1 minute. She said that she had a conversation after a drink or two where Kouri allegedly said, oh, things would be easier. I'd be better off if Eric was dead. But what else did you hear? You heard Becky in a recording tell the officers and investigators. I don't think I can testify to that on the stand. I'm not sure that that's true. But then she testified to it. You know, maybe they threatened to bring a catch pole for her dog too.
And when you have those kinds of things, the catch pole thing, the threats, and how they acted with other people, makes it a lot easier to make these kind of arguments and connect these things, right? And the defense had a lot of that with how law enforcement acted in this case.
One thing I want to point out here, though, is that after looking at all the others, you believe that Ms. Richins accidentally obtained fentanyl when she thought she was getting oxycodone intentionally and knowingly. That is not aggravated murder. And if you believe that, you must find Kouri.
That's actually what they believe. Some of them may have thought, well, it was her fault because she went and got the oxy pills. But if she really got them for his pain or something else, if the jury believes that, of course, then it would not be intentionally ending his life. But that's where the Michael Jackson stuff comes in. That's where the attempt on 214, if they believe it, comes in. That's where the timeline of events comes in, that she wanted something stronger. All of that circumstantial evidence, the jury is going to have to parse out, what do they believe the evidence actually shows?
All right, attempted murder. What is the evidence of this? And again, it has to be intentionally or knowingly, and it has the rest of the elements there. She had to take a substantial step. So here's the evidence. Kouri bought an omelet and an egg sandwich at 9 o'clock in the morning of February 14th. There was no evidence that she left that sandwich in the truck. To the contrary, there was a conversation with her mother saying, they think I left some sandwich in the truck. That didn't happen. Eric said he wasn't feeling well. He took a nap between 11:30 and 2. He called a couple of friends and sounded upset. He joked a few days later with Kouri and friends that his wife had tried to poison him, that he had an allergic reaction and used an EpiPen. Alex Dakin told you that. Alex Dakin. She never said that Kouri got defensive. She didn't say that. She said they were all laughing. She said that Eric didn't seem upset or scared. It was a joke. Wouldn't be the first time a spouse ate something and said, oh my God, my wife tried to poison me. That's it. That's their entire case. He didn't go to the hospital. He didn't do anything that day but take a nap. Eating an egg sandwich, having an allergic reaction to something, and taking a nap. There is no world in which that is attempted murder beyond a reasonable doubt. Oh, they point out that.
And you guys already know I agree with that. And then she goes through the insurance stuff, Eric's signature. Again, those are the weaker ones. I think the strongest case, the state's strongest case, is, in fact, the first degree murder. All right, next section is when she does the old If you think she might have, if you think she could have, if you think she probably killed her husband, it must be not guilty. And I think this is important to drive home to jurors.
Room, that jury room is yours. It's sacrosanct. In that room, you get to decide. And when you get in that room and you look at the evidence, if you think that Kouri Richins might have killed her husband, that she likely killed her husband, that she probably killed her husband, you must find her not guilty. Because maybe, probably, likely, very likely, none of these reach that extraordinary burden of proof beyond reasonable doubt. I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things when you go to that room. First, you might be tempted to go around the room and take a vote for guilty or not guilty to see where y'all stand. We ask you to refrain from this. Instead, we ask, talk to each other about where you see reasonable doubt. Also, if Kathy or Alex or myself did something to offend you during this trial, please hold out against us and not against Kouri.
I think that was a good thing to do as well. And I like when defense lawyers do that, especially if they fight like these defense lawyers did, where a lot of people are going to hate them. And you say, put that on me, not on my client. Harpootlian did the same thing. We've seen other lawyers do that too. And again, they're probably seeing online what people are saying about them, and they probably don't care, but they don't want the jurors to do that.
Now, the state's going to get up and talk to you again because they get the last word. And the reason they have that last word is because of that heavy burden. But when you filled out that jury questionnaire, we asked you if you would be comfortable making your voice heard in that jury room. Would you stand by your convictions, by what you believe? And each and every one of you said yes. So here's my final ask. When you're deliberating, something comes up that we didn't respond to, will you be courageous enough to raise your hand and talk about the community and the state and demand that they comply with the Constitution, that they comply with their burden? Do not let them fool you. Do not fall for red herrings. Kouri Richins did not kill Eric Richins. The state did not prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, and you have the courage to tell them this and find Kouri Richins not guilty.
Man, bro.
So there's two ways to look at that. If you're with the defense, you're like, yes, I could run through a wall for her right now. If you think Kouri Richins did it, you just hate that. It makes you feel, right? And that's what defense lawyers are, a different breed, because they don't really care. They can walk into a losing argument like that, and they can make themselves believe it. My dad says, at the end of every case, he truly believes everything that he's arguing in his theory, is that's how it was. And, I feel like she believes it as well. On a plaintiff side and personal injury and wrongful death cases, it's a lot easier. But it's really interesting to think that we make these arguments, and sometimes we make a really passionate argument, come back and it's guilty pretty quickly, and you're just like, woof. So they were just like looking at me as like a kid to the teeth, because they're just listening to you make this argument. They're just like, hey, guess what? We don't believe you. And that happens sometimes in these cases. And as defense lawyers, we just got to deal with it. We got to take our punches and move on. Then the state gets back up for rebuttal. He asks for 15 minutes to kind of gather his thoughts. He says, parlor tricks aren't legal standards. Those are the type of lines I'm like, whatever. Counsel didn't cite you to evidence like we did. The picture of the animal, I would disagree with that. I don't think it's just as good. It's just as Kouri chose. This was a good point. Kouri chose Carmen because she knew her and she knew she could control her. I didn't choose Carmen. He's like, we went and talked to Carmen because that's who Kouri chose to do the drug deal with. We're not the ones that inserted Carmen into Kouri's murder story. Kouri did that. I thought that was a good argument. They show how the phone data corroborates Carmen's testimony and Robbie's recorded statement, not necessarily what he said on stand. This was an interesting part here about the March drug deal and how he tries to explain that away. It's got a little bit confusing to me, but I want to play it for you guys, see what you thought.
The March drug deal. Timing of this is very interesting. Shortly after Eric's death, Carmen Lauber spoke with Kouri Richins and asked, please tell me these pills were not for him. Of course she denied it. No. But then, a few days later, she asked for more pills. Curious as to why. Perhaps the cover-up, because the pills were indeed for Eric. If I asked for more, she'll know they weren't for Eric.
I actually think that was the better argument. You should have just left with that. Like, it was right after Carmen asked, these weren't for Eric. Oh, no, they weren't for Eric, and this is how it'll prove they weren't for Eric. So Kouri trying to cover it up. But then this was kind of weird, I thought.
It's also interesting that she said she needed something to get her mind. What? I don't know. Maybe she wanted the pills for herself. This suggests she wanted the pills for herself to calm her mind. Which tells you she knows that a pill that she buys from Carmen Lauber is not bad. It's a whole bunch of pills. They kill.
You know what she was getting from Carmen? Okay, really? You want to mess with fentanyl, with illicit street drug fentanyl? After Eric just died from it? Yeah, I don't know. I like the whole, it was a cover up because Carmen was starting to get onto her and thinking guilt and comparing how Kouri acted versus Katie. Was that effective to you guys? Wasn't really to me. Also, I meant to ask, when the defense lawyer said, hold it against me if you guys didn't like something I did or the defense lawyer did it, not against Kouri, would you be able to do that if you were on a jury? If you hated the defense lawyer, would you be able to just hold it against the defense lawyer, but still give Kouri the presumption of innocence and be able to deal with the case, not holding it against her that you didn't like her lawyer? I have to ask you guys that. Let me know in the comments. In moments of tragedy and sorrow, you don't only comfort your children, they also comfort you. So really going into the fact that she did not grieve appropriately. And I think for some people, that could be a light bulb moment to be like, oh yeah, she's definitely guilty. For others, maybe they'll be like, That's annoying. Everybody grieves differently. She didn't tell anyone to use fentanyl because she didn't think anyone would find out. I was like, well, then why didn't she tell people later that he used fentanyl if she knew she was being investigated? So that argument didn't fly with me because to me, if she was trying to cover it up or she thought she'd never get found out, she just doubled and tripled down. He also said there's no evidence Eric sent the gifts, which I agree with. So then he talks about how Kouri tells Eric's dad that Eric died from COVID and what his mom died for and how just basically diabolical that is and brutal how that is to do that to Eric's dad. Then there's a lot of repetition. You know, she talks about how she distanced herself and she's not dumb. She knew what these drugs were. The manner of death is irrelevant for this case, apparently, which I find interesting. I've never heard a lawyer say that. Let's do this little argument.
Manner of death on the death certificate is immaterial. It's a box we check. It's used for statistical purposes. They turn the information over to the Bureau of Vital Statistics. It's immaterial in this case. You determine.
Damn! Hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. So a medical examiner don't determine it. The jury do. Boy, this is diabolical.
Interesting. And then he talks about how there was no THC in the gummy. There's no, the THC gummies were not laced with fentanyl. Did the defense even mention the gummies after so much talk about the gummies? I thought that was interesting, but he did talk about how, you know, that's not a thing. Don't worry about that. Again, her being bad with other people's money. She told Eric the Midway sales was something she was brokering and not something a project they're working on together. Okay. They play a clip of them laughing and partying and shotgunning beers the day after Eric died. Really,
yeah, now that did hit me a little bit when I, just think about it now. That video they showed on March the 5th with her family, she's smiling.
Vast majority of this rebuttal I did not think was effective at all. I did not think was good at all, but I did kind of like the ending. He talks about the book and he translates the walk the dog letter from what Kouri said to what she actually meant. And I thought this was a pretty strong end of rebuttal, which was good because, again, a lot of it I did not think was great. But if you can finish strong, sometimes that's the best way to do it. And I think he did finish strong. So let's take a listen to that.
The first is she wrote it, had it written, and published it in early 2023 when she knew that investigators were investigating her for the murder of Kouri Richins. She promoted it. Her mother sent a book to investigators, all to deflect attention away from Kouri Richins. She also wrote it to make money. You see the email there in evidence. She thought she would sell 100,000 copies in 10 months, $5 profit a copy. That is not tethered to reality. But it does provide insight in how desperate she was for money. She would trade. Trade on her sons and the death of her father.
Damn.
Final thing to tell you about Kouri Richins is that she wanted, as part of her facade,
good night. Thank you for coming.
Of success, privilege, and affluence, she wanted to be an author, but she didn't write it. And you can see from her writings and text messages, orange notebook, the notes, the walk the dog letter. Not only did she not write it, she's not a good writer.
He's taking lots of shots at her personally. Lots of shots.
This is what was important to her.
He didn't say like, and she lied and said she wrote it. I thought he might throw that in there too.
In defense's closing, when you strip out rhetoric that could be argued at any closing, anytime, anywhere, on any case, when you strip that out of defense's closing, and you hone in on substance, the entire substance of the defense's argument is based around on trying to explain the walk the dog letter. Kouri Richins.
I get what he's saying. I'm not sure I totally agree with that, but it's a good point to end on because he's going to.
I needed to craft defense around this letter. It's that would explain everything. Let's unpack the letter in about 15 or so sentences. Not with what Kouri Richins wrote, but with what the evidence shows. Translation from what Kouri Richins wrote to what the evidence shows. First part, here's what I'm thinking. But you have to talk to Ronnie. He would potentially have to testify to this, but it's super short. What the evidence shows is it says, I'm thinking that if you tell Ronnie to testify to what I'm about to write, it will explain everything and I will not get convicted. Ronnie will need to tell this to my lawyer because I just made it up and it will have to come from him. Never mind that I was arrested 4 months ago.
Because the timing of this letter and the differences in this letter to everything she said leading up to it is the really important inconsistency, at least to me.
I need an excuse for Ronnie and Eric to be hanging out. Never mind that football season ended a month earlier. I need to explain the fentanyl, and fentanyl must be everywhere in Mexico. Never mind that Eric would have to fly with the fentanyl, and I later say that Eric would not fly with drugs for fear of getting caught. Never mind that I know this story despite Ronnie never telling me. I need to explain why everyone will testify that Eric never used drugs.
I personally liked when he read it first and then gave what the evidence actually showed. He switched to just letting the jury read, and then he explained what he thinks the evidence showed.
This kind of happened once with THC gummies on a trip to Hawaii. Hopefully this is enough to corroborate my entire walk the dog story.
Ooh.
I need to diss myself. He does not say these things. I'm convicted. I need to explain why investigators never found a trace of fentanyl in my home. Never mind that it doesn't make sense that Eric hid the fentanyl after asking me to buy it.
Yeah, like why would he need to hide it from Kouri if she's the one that was buying it for him, right? I guess if he was getting it from Mexico, maybe she didn't know about it. There's a lot of inconsistencies. Now, the defenses don't have to be consistent. They can just poke holes. They can create reasonable doubt, create other reasonable alternatives. But I do like what he's doing. I do like what he's doing.
Don't get caught passing this made-up story along to Ronnie. That would be horrible. Tell Ronnie to keep the story short so that he does not mess it up. Since his conversation with Eric never happened, tell him that it was only 2 minutes long. Ronnie needs to do this so that I do not get convicted. I can then extract revenge on Eric's sisters.
Oh.
Remember, I just made the story up, so my lawyer does not know it yet.
And it always comes back to me like, if this was true, what is stopping you from having a confidential communication with your lawyer telling her this so that she can go talk to Ronnie? She can track stuff down in Mexico. She can do all of this, right? Go talk to Ronnie. He knows X, Y, and Z. You can have a confidential communication that the prosecution would have never gotten their hands on, right?
In this case proves Kouri Richins murdered her husband, Richins. And despite all the evidence, Kouri Richins clings, and despite all the evidence, Kouri Richins doubles down and blames Eric. She is intensely ambitious. See through her facade, check her ambition, do not let her get away with murder.
And I do think that last line is something a lot of jurors think about. Do not let her get away with murder. And they're like, I think she's probably guilty, even though that should be legally not guilty. A lot of them are like, I can't let her get away with murder, man. Sorry. And I've heard jurors say that they've had those exact conversations before back in the jury. So they've been deliberating now for a couple hours. When you'll see this, it's probably the end of the day Monday. I would be shocked if they had a verdict by the end of the day Monday. I'm thinking either end of day Tuesday or most likely day to see a verdict in this case is I'm thinking Wednesday, but wouldn't surprise me if it was before the end of the day on Tuesday. I expect it to be a guilty verdict, even though I personally think I am just at that Kouri probably committed these crimes, and I think it just was not statements back and forth. Just I know a lot of you disagree with me, and that's okay. And I'd be open to having conversations back there in the jury room. Let me know that in the comments and when you think the verdict is going to come down. But I'm still out of town, so I'm going to do my best to try to react to these. But here's a verdict on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll be reacting to it when I get time to do that. I probably will not be live. That's okay. Hopefully you guys have had a second now to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I appreciate you so much.
Shout out to him, and shout out to Moesk, and Shout out to all the people, who got it right. But like Peter said, O'Driscoll, Corman, and Crozier. The jury just look the other way. Right now. I look forward to hearing his thoughts tomorrow on this. Today was tough. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, today was tough. Because I didn't see this happening in 3 hours. They couldn't say it was her signature. I mean, circumstantial. Boy. But it's in Utah. They got the LDS, the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. I heard it was 6 men, 2 women on the juror, and like somebody told me, they don't even like drinking soda pop. They told me that the man looked beneath they women up there. I don't know how. I mean, I ain't never been to Utah, so I can't say. But what I can say is, in 3 hours, she got convicted on all 5 accounts. That's mind-boggling. In 3 hours. Then Peter said something else like, would you take it out on the defense attorneys? Could you say don't blame it on my client if you didn't like us? That's all I heard a lot of people saying. Oh, we don't like the lawyers. It ain't for you to like the lawyers. They trying to fight for this woman whose life is on the line. I get it. Right. We don't like, but especially when the investigation was so bad. Man. Hey. I'm shocked. I thought this was at least going to go in until tomorrow. Thought we was going to see more. We're going to be able to, tomorrow, like I thought the jury would go home and sleep on it. When they said they want to stay, it seemed like, oh, we don't want to come back here. It wasn't no probably. They think she may have did it. Boy, that jury of 8 was convinced. It was no reasonable doubt. I mean, none. In 3 hours. In 3 hours, y'all. And there was a bunch of reasonable doubt. I mean, the prosecutors didn't even talk about the terrible job the police did. Like, Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Mm-mm-mm. 3 hours. You're supposed to go over all the evidence. They didn't say Kouri Force. They didn't say none of that. Like, they convicted her on all 5 accounts. Shout out to user in the building. On all 5 accounts in 3 hours. When there was no evidence of 2nd-degree murder. None. Evidence of forgery. Oh, man. Man, man, man. Man, 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 man. Boy, when you think you know, shit. When you think you know you watching something, you know, like, she got convicted on all 5 accounts. Yeah, like Ocean said, the worst was how she didn't show grief the way he thought she should have. And Grizz Girl said that was our old lawyer, Scott, over the investigators. Yeah, I seen that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I hope she can appeal, right? Like, they gave that girl Carmen a deal, and she still lied to the judge so she can go see her boyfriend in Las Vegas in another state. And the jury didn't even take that in consideration even after she got the deal. Oh my. Mm. Huh. I don't know, y'all. Like, I don't know how to understand this. I want to understand it. Man. Mm-mm-mm. Goddamn. Oh man. Mm-mm-mm. I mean, I'm flabbergasted. Usually say it has to be his family going in deep on her in court. Man, I'm just shocked that they didn't mention Driscoll, the state didn't mention Driscoll in their closing arguments. The defense did. Like, the law is harder than or this was, I know errors happen, but I'm like, how did this? Oh, wait. Man. And then, like Peter and Big George were saying the other day, like the judge made a crucial mistake, like about illicit, something he was saying, something they was talking about, man. But I ain't putting the blame there. I just don't see how these people convicted on all 5 accounts in 3 hours. In 3 hours. Man. In 3 hours, y'all. They convicted that woman in 3 hours. 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 hours. They convicted Kouri Richins on all 5 accounts. All 5 in 3 hours. 3. Hey. Man. Can't wait to hear and research a lot of the stuff that's going on and the stories that's gonna come out. Cause I'm astonished by this book. Man, I love y'all so much, man. Man, I love and appreciate Jimmy so much for sending that raid in her, man. Thank you, Jimmy, man. Thank you, everybody, man. Love y'all to death. See y'all soon.
TRUF. Truth.
He's the mirage in the rear view glass.
It's Ray from Dallas.
Let slip past. Was he here? Was he there? Was he ever mine?
Ray from Dallas?
Just a trick played by time.
This dude is savage as fuck.
Or just a dream?
What up, Ray from Dallas?
Ray from Dallas, tell me true.
He's fun.
Hi, Ray.
This appears to be a black man.
Ray from Dallas.
Let's take this walk.
Is he real or just a dream? Falling stars or a laser beam? Ray from Dallas, tell me true. Are you the myth or the man I knew?
This dude is
savage as fuck.